She's on her way. It's always that the tractor. One day I was
And I had a meeting that ran long. The story of my life.
So we need to save Miranda a parking spot.
I tried to get here earlier, but I couldn't get. Oh, God, like I'm a hard stop because I gotta go.
It'll start now.
Usually have something to say.
Yeah, I like it a lot. No, you have to switch it. I did turn it
I will now
now call to order the January 7th, 2025 regular board meeting of the Stanwood-Camano School District Board of Directors. Director King, Murray, and Evans, and Schreiber are present. Director Foster is absent and excused. She was in the hospital late last night and this morning, so our thoughts are with her. Our student advisor, Luke, is here. Elizabeth is absent and excused today. She has two tests tomorrow, I guess. So, today we are offering two opportunities for the public to speak. Comments specific to the consent agenda will be allowed prior to the vote of those items. Citizens who have submitted a request to speak during the public comment section of the agenda will be called upon to make their comments at that time, which is near the end of the meeting. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the agenda before you for the January 7th, 2025 regular school board meeting. I would like to strike the December 18th special board meeting minutes until we can review the videotape and take care of any concerns on that one. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda minus the December 18th.
Would you speak louder, please? We can't hear you. I'm sorry.
All right, is there a motion for that? So moved by Director Kuhn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Evans. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. That passes unanimously. Okay, the board has had the opportunity to review the November 25th, 2024 special board meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 25th, 2024 special board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Director King,
Second.
seconded by Director Murray. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. That passes unanimously. The board has had the opportunity to review the December 3rd, 2024 regular board meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December 3rd, 2024 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Director Evans.
Second.
Seconded by Director King. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. That passes unanimously. Okay. At this time, we will proceed with administering the oath of office for Interim Superintendent Ryan Bobanel. This is a solemn and significant moment in which the Interim Superintendent pledges to serve our students, families, and staff with integrity, commitment, and vision. So let's approach the podium. I state your name.
I, Brian Ovenel,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington,
and will faithfully perform the duties of superintendent
and will faithfully perform the duties of superintendent
of the Stanwood-Camano School District number 401
of the Stanwood-Camano School District number 401
in the county of Snohomish,
in the county of Snohomish,
state of Washington,
state of Washington,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
It is time for the superintendent's report.
Thank you. The superintendent's report has several items today, beginning with donations, which will be read in by student representative of the school board from Lincoln Hill High School, Luke Hoffman.
$616.20 from the Cedar Home Elementary School PTO to cover Cedar Home Elementary School field trip transportation costs to Swan Trail Farm. $2,000 from the Stanwood-Camano Arts Guild to purchase art supplies for Stanwood High School, Stanwood Middle School, Port Susan Middle School, Lincoln Hill High School, and Saratoga School. A donation of a tenor saxophone and oboe in support of the Stanwood High School Band Program from the Stanwood High School Band Boosters, valued at $3,540.61.
Thank you, Luke. Of course, I want to express our gratitude to the community for our donations as always. Appreciate it. Next up on the superintendent's report is a capital projects update, which will be presented by Executive Director of Business Services, Ruth Floyd.
Good afternoon. We have a capital projects update for you today. I just wanted to mention on our promise for students that part of our promise is ensuring comfortable and safe facilities so our students can learn and achieve the future of their choice. So we do have some completed projects for 2024. I want to remind everyone that the funds within the Capital Projects Fund are restricted, and so because it's a restricted fund, they can't be moved without a special authority from one fund to the other, and the only reason that would happen is some sort of loan to another fund. They always would have to be paid back because of the funds within Capital Projects Fund need to be spent on those projects for which the taxpayers are paying for, either a bond or a levy. And some of the projects we did in 2024 are completing some fencing enclosures. You can see some of our elementary pictures there, as well as the lower right, Port Susan Middle School. We added some fencing around the athletic facilities, and there's a picture of some curbing that also was put at that facility. And then 2 elementaries had additional privacy fencing. That was Twin City and Stanwood Elementary School. Stanwood Elementary also received an annunciator speaker and clock upgrade. On the left is the gym, and on the right is the library. There were clocks throughout the building. And then this is the dry sprinkler repairs at both Etzalati Elementary as well as Elger Bay Elementary. The right hand is the new system, and you can also see the vapor shield there. That's that large item up at the top of the picture. We do have some ongoing projects throughout the school year, continuing into 2025. This is a picture of Cedar Home with some roller shades on the exterior windows, as well as stringless level or blinds on the interior windows. Our goal was to get rid of all of those blinds with strings for safety purposes. And this is a picture of the existing roof at Cedar Home Elementary. This is getting to be the needing a replacement, and so we plan to do that in summer of 2025 coming up. We'll also replace the gutters. Another project for the summer is the Port Susan Middle School fire alarm replacement. I think these are some pictures of the existing equipment. As far as the budget, we will have approximately $4.1 million available for additional projects, and that includes taking out the estimated costs for the previously discussed projects, including the roof and the Port Susan fire alarm replacement, or Cedar Home roof and Port Susan fire alarm replacement. And you can see there how the $4.1 million is estimated to be split between state matching funds left over from our bond sale. And as part of a bond sale, we received state matching funds from the state of Washington. And then also we have been very judicious with our levy funds, and we have a bit left over for some additional projects there as well. Projects pending and not knowing if we're going to be able to complete those quite yet, but we'll keep you updated on them. We're waiting on an evaluation for the Etzalati building envelope repairs associated with the freezes we've had there. And Twin City Elementary has some retaining wall and staircase repairs we really want to get done for safety purposes, as well as the transportation parking lot. You probably noticed some of the alligatoring and some of the issues that we have there with some of the sub parking lot. Projects pending prioritization and availability funding, including Stanwood Elementary covered walkway upgrade and repair. There's some earthquake type things that structural things we need to take care of there. It's not a huge safety issue right now, and so that's kind of a little bit further down on the prioritization list, as well as some portable reconditioning, and then LED lighting upgrades we'd really like to do for conservation purposes, and then district flooring replacements. We need some district-wide flooring replacements completed. That's all I have for you in prepared remarks, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just to clarify, for the roof at Cedar Home, we already have bids and prices on that, and we've approved that one, correct?
You have approved getting the bids.
Okay, so we
Yes.
don't have the bids yet.
So what we wanted to do was, we have the ability to use cooperative agreements for the roof. And so we really only need to go to one of those, and we can direct buy through that. But we're kind of going to a couple just so that we can price compare. And so we're waiting, we have one in, I believe, and we're waiting for another, and then we'll come back to you with the results of that.
Perfect. And then just for clarification, I know we've talked about this in our capital facilities meetings, our CFAC meetings, but the fire alarm at Fort Susan, part of that is no longer, like, it's hard to get parts for because it's not a service system, correct? And so
Correct.
It's cheaper to put a new one in than to keep trying to find source parts and things like that, right?
Correct. The parts are now becoming obsolete.
Okay.
And the system that we're wanting to use is more streamlined so that a lot of different companies use that
Oh, that's right.
those parts. It's not
company that
proprietary.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other one had, we have some proprietary, and we prefer to stay away from that.
Thank you.
When we toured the outside school, the floor surface needed to resurface, and we're talking to Kevin, apparently we could do that at little to no cost. So is that in plan to be done and not on list because it doesn't cost anything?
Well, when we do flooring resurfacing, and the waxing and that kind of stuff to kind of give it a facelift, that is our maintenance budget, and our maintenance staff can do that. So little to no dollars, and if there is any cost, it would come out of general fund.
I see that we've got the Etzalati envelope repairs as pending. Were there any recommendations for Elder Bay because of their similar issues that they had during the winter last year?
Because Elder Bay has a very similar, in fact, it's the same footprint, we wanted to start with Etzalati because that has had the worst issues. Because it is quite costly to do the assessment, and so we're starting with that one, and we're hoping that we can gain some ideas on how to mitigate some of these issues and replicate that at Elder Bay as well. Do you have anything else there? All right.
I'll just real quick acknowledge what Director King and Director Evans did in the CFAC group, Capital Facilities Advisory Committee, in which they are part of, and several members in the audience are part of today, to help us prioritize those ongoing projects and future projects for the district with the capital funds.
Thank you. Yes. All right. We have the November 2024 financial report for you today as well. This is the completion of the first quarter of the fiscal year, And enrollment FTE was 4,672, which is 68 over budget and about 20 above last year. State apportionment revenues were paid at 5%, for a total of 22% through November. And also keep in mind, December is the last month in which they're using budgeted enrollment. And so you'll see in January when I provide that report in a couple of months that that'll kind of bring up our apportionment so that it reflects our actual annual average FTE.
Just real quick, so to refresh my memory, and I know I ask this question literally every year, but sorry. So I know that in January they start going off of actual enrollment. Is January the month that they true that up and pay you the outstanding that they owe you, or is that the month that they start your count and then they true up in February? Never remember that.
They true up from September through January.
Okay.
And then they make up whatever you would have lost, or in the case of having lower enrollment, they take away those 5 months.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why I can't ever remember if that happens in January or February every time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't get our transportation until February, so
Okay,
that's
maybe
what
that's
you
what
maybe
it is.
were remembering is
Okay.
that we don't know what our allocation is for transportation until February of the year in which we're receiving our money.
Thank you.
Which
So
is
I'm not
interesting way to
1,000%
budget.
crazy, just a little bit crazy.
Good memory. All right. Payroll costs as a percent of budget through November are higher than this time last year, but not by a lot. And non-salary costs are lower than last year. And as you remember, we had a curriculum adoption in September of last year, which makes that timing of expenditures a little bit different. Manager's report on the next page. I have a really cool new thing here that I can scroll myself. So I'm just getting used to it. But our manager's report through November shows that we have spent and encumbered 87.43% of our budget, and that includes encumbrances for the rest of the school year for salaries and benefits. So 13% less in November may seem really low, but that's because we encumber our salaries for the year. And then our fund balance, got a Rosellas there, is at, $7.9 million. This is slightly ahead of this time last year, but notice that the percent of revenues is under, which is consistent with where we were expecting a budget to be at about this time. And I believe that will also come down in December due to timing of expenditures. And then our object summary. Is, as mentioned earlier, salaries and benefits are running ahead of last year this time, and non-salary costs are lower. This is our general fund budget status, so we want you to see the budget status of all of our budgeted funds. General fund is one of them, and I had already described what's going on with general fund. We do have that $7.9 million fund balance as of November 30th. Capital Projects Fund, we had some taxes come in and some project payments, progress payments on projects for a total of about $5.7 million at the end of November. And then for debt service, you'll see we had a significant amount of taxes come in, which is normal for this time of year. We don't have any expenditures, but you will see bond principal and interest paid in December when you receive that report. ASB fund, typical revenues and expenditures for the year. And transportation vehicle fund, typical revenues. And we expect buses to be delivered here over the next few months, and you'll start to see expenditures flow through in there as well. budget capacity report, some grant capacity added, as well as some carry forward. Food services is running in line with where we would expect November to be compared to budget, and the deficit is running ahead of last year, but that was anticipated in the budget. And then our average daily participation is similar, stayed where it was last month. We are overall over budget, or running under budget, sorry, but we're ahead of last year, so we feel good about that. It's just breakfast, as I mentioned, we're running a bit behind than what we had anticipated at some of the schools that have free meals for all this year. And that's the last of our financial report for November. I'm happy to answer any questions on this one.
How many of our schools do the free lunch for all, like qualify for that this year? Three. The high school?
No, it's 2 elementaries, Stanwood Elementary and Elger Bay.
Okay.
As well as Church Creek campus. So what they did was they considered the whole building eligible because Saratoga had the grade levels, and then Lincoln Hill and Lincoln Academy had the free and reduced lunch. And when they look at it as a whole, that means we can just combine and let everyone eat free.
Does it, you might not have this information, and that's okay, maybe circle back. Is the participation for breakfast at those 2 elementary schools higher than our other 3 elementary schools?
I believe it is, but I can get you that, those details.
Just
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
We appreciate the detail and skill you have around managing and reporting on the district's funds.
Of course, thank you.
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenman. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Anyone in attendance may speak to the items contained in the consent agenda and only those items contained in the consent agenda at this time. This is not the portion of the meeting for open public comment on items outside of the consent agenda. Open public comment is coming up soon. Are there any board directors who wish to pull any item from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay. Are there any people in attendance who wish to speak to any of these consent agenda items? Okay. Is there a motion to approve consent agendas item 1 through 12?
So,
Moved by Director King, seconded by Director Evans. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That passes unanimously. We have no old business, so we'll move into public comment. And we'll start with some that didn't make it in the 30 minutes last time. So our first speaker is Nida Goldstein.
Good afternoon. I'm Nida Goldstein, a teacher and president of the Stanwood-Camano Education Association, which represents the more than 300 certificated staff members in this district. This is my 20th year serving as SCA president, and the fact that I'm standing in front of the school board to speak today is very rare. Why? Because despite any differences in problem-solving approaches, pedagogical views, personnel issues, financial challenges, and so many other ways our membership is impacted by the district administration and school board decisions, SCEA and the district have operated together with the highest degree of mutual respect and shared understanding of the norms, rules, and roles each of us plays within that construct. Simply said, it has worked. I haven't needed to come before the board to share concerns because the board had taken the careful steps to hire a superintendent who shares the commitment to proactively approaching any issues we may have and addressing those that come up after the fact. That is not to say that we always get whatever we want, certainly not. But people on all sides make every attempt to resolve conflicts and solve problems. The system has worked. It has worked despite the spectrum of ideological, political, and other views among staff, administrators, and the many school board members who have been part of my time in this role over the last 20 years. Things aren't perfect, but together, we have overcome challenges placed upon our district in the form of unfunded mandates by the legislature, a recession, a pandemic, and the many adjustments to rules and laws over the years. We've had hard conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how to support all of our students through the many challenges they face when they walk through our doors. Our work is ongoing, it is important, and it is critical to the continuing health of our school district. Now, though, the actions of this school board are coming dangerously close to getting in the way of that important work. The mid-year transition and loss of our superintendent seemed secretive, rushed, and not well thought out. I can't stress enough how critical the choice of a qualified superintendent is in avoiding problems such as fiscal mismanagement and loss of trust with staff and community, as we have unfortunately seen in a nearby district. I am under no false idea that my speaking today will change the minds of those on the board who have apparently made several concerning decisions long before the ones that led to the abrupt resignation of our superintendent. But I want to be on the record as saying that the concerns we have as a union are not limited to the impact of our membership, but extend to our students and their families. We don't need your protection from whatever or whomever you perceive to be a problem this week. We need to be able to support our students by doing our jobs without the interference of a school board who appears to be working against us.
He just called your name, Josie. He just called your name.
Ms. Josie, did you say?
I begin back my time for today.
Thank you. And our next commentator will be Jan Decker.
My name is Jan Decker and I live on Camano Island. I would like to address the email that Al Schreiber sent to King 5 News after the December 3rd, 2024 school board meeting. Read in part, quote, "There's a very organized and loud small group who last year put their candidate on the ballot for the at-large position. Their candidate trailed far behind the two leading candidates who are very close in total votes. What they cannot achieve at the ballot box, they attempt to gain by harassment, intimidation, bullying, and threats. This is not what we want our students to learn and follow," unquote. Al, what you sent to King 5 contains false statements, and I'll prove it. It seems like you were talking for the whole board when at least two of the directors knew nothing about that email. You don't have any idea who we are. To help you know your constituents, by raise of hand, how many people here today are because the school board candidate you voted for more than a year ago didn't win? Let the record show nobody raised their hand. By raise of hand, how many people here are because of the 3 board members that are violating policies, procedures, and their oath of office? Let the record show the majority of the people here raise their hand. The group that just raised their hands were not formed because of an election loss. Al, Betsy, Steve, you created us. I agree with part of your statement. Harassment, intimidation, bullying, and threats have no place in our school district. And that's exactly what you 3 have been doing to a principal, a great superintendent, other staff members, students, and the community. At the December 3rd board meeting, a woman stood right here and a group of people stood behind her. I didn't know who any of them were. I later learned that that group consisted of several former school board members, a former superintendent, and even the current mayor of Stanwood. They called you 3 to task for the wrongs you've been doing. Were they here because their candidate didn't win? No. If I were you, I would have been so embarrassed by what they had to come and call you out, but obviously you are not. Al, you sit there pounding your gavel at us, repeatedly citing policy at these meetings, even enforcing them by police force. But when you won't follow those policies yourself, what do you expect? We didn't take an oath to follow policy, you did. You don't care about the children. It seems your only agenda is to sow chaos and destroy the Stanwood-Camano School District. Al, again, I ask you to resign. Go home and clean up the mess at your own house and stop messing with this school district.
Tough act to follow. I'm gonna get this over here, because I want to speak to the room, and I'm too short. Okay, I'm Robin Ringland, and I'm a retired math and science teacher. I taught 25 years in the Stanwood-Camano School District. There are so many faces in this room that I recognize. Ryan, our interim superintendent. We used to teach together, and we coached science team together. Thank you for stepping into this new role. Many of us in this room are rooting for your success. Thank you. Board members, thank you, thank you. It's not an easy job, and I want you to understand, Betsy, Elizabeth, all of you, we appreciate your service. High school, I want to point you out. You guys, you two, you and Elizabeth, so tell her from me, please. You keep us focused on why we're here, right? You're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Community members, thank you. Thank you. You ask hard questions. You seek out ways to keep our district safe and effective. Whoever said board meetings are boring? Thank you again. So administrators, board members, community members, we have a job to do together. We have a treasure, a very, very precious treasure, and that's our children. That's our children. That's for all of us. This treasure is ours. Imagine, another imagining, first it was a treasure, now it's a ball of light. So, my granddaughter loves it when I do this. I have a ball of light in my hand, and I'm going to throw it out. And when it hits the ceiling, it breaks apart into many sparks of light. You can all have a ball of light if you want. The sparks are like sparks of hope. Let's imagine sparks of hope. Hope for new beginnings. And that's kind of the title that I submitted when I set my form in yesterday so I could speak. Hope for new beginnings in a new year.
Thank you.
As we move into 2025, let's carry those sparks of hope and positivity. Let's try the best we can to lift each other up. Did I miss 3 minutes? Yeah. Okay, oh my gosh, I missed that. You guys are gonna miss the best part. But I'll come back next time and finish.
Thank you.
Actually, I'll be real brief. I've been thinking there's a lot of things to be said, but I think the simplest is that we are a district that needs some work, collectively needs some work, and we need to find a way to come together to do that. And in the past, we've pulled stakeholders together and we've done what we needed to do it. And I urge all of you, Albert, Steve, Charlotte, Miranda, Betsy, and certainly with you guys are stakeholders as well, we need to get this fixed. We cannot continue on like we're continuing on right now. It's bad for the community, it's bad for the businesses, but more important, it's bad for the kids. That everything that we do is for the kids. That's number one. Every filter that we run on decisions needs to be is how is this going to impact the kids? So I urge all of us to do something to get this fixed. Thanks.
Our next speaker is Leslie Gary. Is that right?
Thank you. My name's Leslie Gary, and I want to bring to the public's attention some excerpts from a notice that Nida Goldstein, you know, I'm glad you're here. The president of the SCA emailed to members on December 17, 2024. I sent the entire document to all board members today, in part. So my question is, Ms. Goldstein, your communication is regarding the SCA post of December 17, 2024 to the SCA members about your concerns with the Stanwood School District. You made some prejudicial and inflammatory accusations against duly elected members of the Stanwood-Camano School Board, and I'm requesting clarification regarding the following. Quote, recent concerning activity from members of our school board and questionable organizations they may be affiliated with, close quote. My question is, what do you mean by questionable? Next quote, the board majority has circumvented and ignored usual employed complaint procedures, close quote. My follow-up question, can you explain how they were circumvented? What policy or procedure did they ignore? Next quote, at a minimum, they pushed Dr. Rumbaugh to resign, close quote, and my question is how? Next quote, SCA is strongly opposed to the tactics employed by the school board, close quote. With my follow-up, do you speak for everyone associated with the SCA? Next quote, this seems rushed, secretive, and not well thought out, close quote. My question, did you take a poll of all the members of the SCEA? Final quote, first steps toward fiscal mismanagement and loss of trust with the staff and the community, close quote. My question is, what is your evidence? And I've asked, help me understand, are these your opinions? Are you using taxpayer time to put out this email? What about all those that don't agree with you? And I've asked for a date for reply. And I close with this. I never thought volunteering to help children could be so controversial, but here I am. My concern is about all children and having the opportunity for the best education. I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and help. It's time that we act like adults and show children and the community what that looks like. Coming to school board meetings with matching shirts, signs, and toys are practices for middle school, and we must do better. Thank you.
We ask that you refrain from making comments like that and be respectful to all of our speakers, please. Our next speaker is Charlene White.
Hi, my name is Charlene White. On Friday, January 3rd, I sent this letter to the publisher and editor of the Stanwood-Camano News. To the editor and publisher of the Stanwood-Camano News, lead, follow, or get out of the way. The Stanwood-Camano newspaper has once again missed the mark. The recent story about the school district disputes issue did nothing to lower the temperature and rhetoric at the school board meetings over the resignation of Dr. Rumbaugh. I was appalled at the behavior displayed at the school board meeting on December 18th. The disrespect and incivility of many in attendance was so disgusting. President Schreiber requested several times that there be no response to any comments, yet the appalling behavior continued. The behavior got so bad that the room had to be cleared. The Stanwood-Camano newspaper has become nothing but a propaganda rag when it should be a community newspaper reporting the news and facts, leaving biased opinions to the letter to the editor page. I would like to make a proposal to the editor and publisher of the newspaper. You could help settle some of the rancor and incendiary conflict in the Stanwood-Camano School District by recognizing and printing the full story regarding Dr. Rumbaugh's resignation. In her reporting, your reporter has not been inclusive of everyone in the community. I would also suggest an additional way out of this morass would be to add a point, counterpoint, weekly feature in your newspaper so parents, teachers, and citizens can feel heard and included in the conversation. Thank you for considering these requests. Charlene White.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Stuart Hunt.
Good afternoon. My name is Stuart Hunt. I'm here to engage in cultural appropriation and speak to you as a Dutch uncle, commonly defined as a person who issues frank comments and criticisms to educate, encourage, and admonish. I looked into common job descriptions of a school board. As a reminder, you are responsible to oversee the operations of a school district by setting educational goals, establishing policies, hiring and evaluating the superintendent, managing the budget, and acting as a representative for the community to ensure the best possible education for all students within the district. Nowhere does your job require you to behave publicly like bratty siblings towards each other. Meanwhile, your constituents voted for, paid for, and look for educational and cultural leadership, hallmarks of mature, functional, praiseworthy responsibility. Test data for the last 3 years indicate improvements by no more than 4 points, languishing from 39% to 52% marks, which is 12 to 25% below failure of the true SBA scores, not the SBAC lie. That, besides safety, is your highest priority, and you have not demonstrated the ability to move the needle. Why should this community simply stand and wait for you, as a board, to saddle up and demand better performance? Do you need guidance? Well, here's some. First, set higher 1, 2, and 3-year academic improvement goals. 2, you have lost the trust of your faculty. Fix that. 3, spend more time in the schools which oversee and discover firsthand just how best to improve our school district. Number 4, start behaving like trustworthy, praiseworthy, respectable adults. Any Dutch uncle is required to tell you what an embarrassment watching you publicly criticize each other and waste time better spent improving outcome for students. A priority you have misplaced. Get yourselves together, have a productive retreat, prioritize and calendar district improvements, and commit yourselves to better outcomes. Dutch uncles are also required to praise improvement, and I'll be happy to do that when I see some. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last commentator today is Brooke Knight.
Hello, my name is Brooke Knight, and I live on Camano, and I have one daughter enrolled in the district. I debated speaking today because I wasn't sure what I can say that hasn't already been said. But based on all that is happening and continues to happen, it seems the message isn't getting through. I continue to be deeply dismayed and frankly embarrassed by the actions of the school board, or some of the school board members is probably more appropriate. For those who haven't been keeping track, here's a brief summary of events over the past approximate 9 months. Several school board members attempted to eliminate protections for diversity, equity, and inclusion from our district. This was accompanied by school board members saying that some students weren't worthy of investing in because they were simply doomed to failure. This was obviously a direct breach of the district's promise and oath of office. The school board pressured the superintendent to put a school principal on leave, disregarding school policy, board policy. This was in response to apparent pressure from a constituent who seems to have a partisan agenda. There have been multiple violations of school board policy at meetings, and multiple apparent meetings between school board members outside of school board meetings in violation of state law. Finally, several school board members apparently colluded behind the scenes to speed up the resignation of Superintendent Deborah Rumbaugh and to install a new interim superintendent without due process. Unfortunately, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The impact of all these actions has been tremendous. Critical time, energy, and resource has been diverted from our children to managing this mess. Significant legal fees are likely to be incurred by the district as a result of the board's actions, again, meaning less funding going directly to our kids. Lastly, trust has been violated and cannot be rebuilt. As elected officials, you were entrusted by the voters, by this community, to put whatever your political agenda is aside and to focus on doing what's best for our kids. You have failed to do this, and you consistently demonstrate that you have no interest in doing this. Your actions have real consequences on real families and real students. My child is not a pawn on your political chessboard. Respectfully, I'm urging board members King, Foster, and board president Schreiber to do what is right and to resign their positions, allowing others who are committed to doing what's best for our kids to step up. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our speakers there. Our topic for school board discussion today is the first reading of board policy 6600 on transportation. Is there discussion on this topic? I think this is kind of a cleanup to keep us in compliance with the law.
Several components of this are adjustments to law, correct?
Any discussion on that? We have consensus to move this to a second reading. We have consensus. Then we'll move that to a second reading next time. Student representatives reports on school business. Luke?
Well, Elizabeth is not here, but I did get some of her bullet points about what's going on at Stanwood High School. The ASB team is focused on creating memorable experiences leading up to winter break, resulting in high student engagement and participation. ASB organizes Spirit Month with various dress-up days like Cozy Cabin Flannel Day, Double Trouble National Twin Day, and You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Hot cocoa and apple cider were provided on Friday mornings, enhancing students' mornings and fostering community spirit. For sports achievements, the girls' basketball team won 52-39 against Monroe, continuing a successful season. The upcoming Spirit Bus will take students to Snohomish High School to support the boys' basketball team in an upcoming game against Monroe. SHS has seen a great amount of academic support with Spartan Time, allowing students to see extra help from teachers during advisory periods, with additional support available before and after school, as well as positive community impact with ASB's initiative to create a sense of belonging and community at Stanwood High School, and an ongoing commitment to improve school spirit and academic success, preparing students for their future endeavors. At Lincoln Hill, our student representatives will be holding a meeting next Tuesday and discussing our upcoming advisory periods and a proposed fundraiser project for around February. On Friday the 17th, we will be showing a presentation acknowledging Martin Luther King Day. And on the 31st, the Stanwood-Camano Area Foundation will present opportunities for scholarships to our senior advisory class. After the semester ends, we'll be holding ASB elections and holding the Sweet Notes fundraiser, inviting students to spread positivity and raise each other up by purchasing donated notes with uplifting messages and having them delivered to one another. The end of the semester is January 27th, and as it comes to a close, we hope to see the hard work of our students and teachers put in pay off.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move on to items brought up by board directors. Director Evans, do you have anything?
Generally, this is where we talk about, sorry, I turned off my microphone for public comment. Generally, this is where we talk about the things that we've done recently in the capacity of our school director role. I don't think that's appropriate to sit here and sort of belabor the the wonderful things that I've done, because I genuinely don't believe that as a board we've done wonderful things lately. So what I would say is I hear you. I agree that the trust is broken. And to Luke's point about the SCAF meeting, please don't let your frustrations with us impact our students. We have a very generous community. I would hate for that to bleed into anything like that. If you want to be mad at us. These are grown-up problems. Please don't take it out on our students. Thank you.
Director Murray?
Wow, it's always hard to follow Director Evans because she always has a way of saying things in a way.
Louder, please.
Sorry. It's hard to follow Director Evans because we have very similar mindsets. Our students are always first. And we do have a lot of grown-up problems going on here. And it is my hope and desire that we can get back to what is most important, and that is our students and their futures. So thank you all for attending today, and please feel free to reach out if you have questions. Thank you.
Director King?
Yeah, I went to the most recent high school choir concert. That was, again, really wonderful. And an extra special part of that was that there was a large group of alumni who were there for the last number. We're part of that.
Thank you. And we have some training coming up here in the next month. So if you work with our secretary to find a date when everyone can meet, that would be appreciated. I will give our interim superintendent the last word here and welcome, sir. Wish you well.
Thank you. I would just say that my commitment, as it has been for the last 20 years in the district, remains on supporting and elevating our staff and students, as has been said just moments ago. And as interim superintendent, I'll commit to continuing to advance our district promise and keeping the focus on the success and well-being of every student. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.
Trey had the last word. Good job. Great
I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
You need to take a picture.
Our